What's up, guys? Today I want to talk just a little bit about a microphone I got to try out the other day. That is the Deity S-Mic 2. Now, the Deity S-Mic 2 is basically a kind of take on the Sennheiser MKH416, which has really been a long-standing industry standard in the film world for recording dialogue on set. The 416 is really robust, it sounds great, it can take a beating pretty much any environment that you put it in, it can handle moisture, it can handle heat, it's a really solid all-around microphone. Deity created the S-Mic 2 to kind of compete in that same space, along with maybe the Rode NTG3 microphones that are kind of similar to that. I recently got to put this microphone through its paces in a pretty specific environment, so this isn't going to be a complete review of the mic in and of itself, because there are plenty of those out there when it comes to recording dialogue and getting good sound from on set. The S-Mic 2 performs pretty well in that environment. It's got really good off-axis rejection, so if you're pointing it at a sound source like somebody speaking, as you move away from them, it's going to drop off really quickly, and that's great for isolating dialogue from background noise, that kind of thing. But the specific environment that I want to talk about it in is recording sound effects. Now, a general principle of recording is that you want to match your microphone to your sound source. So if you're recording dialogue, maybe you want to get a microphone that's going to roll off a little bit of low end naturally and sweeten the top end of the frequency spectrum naturally, so you get nice, clean, clear sounding dialogue. Or say if you're recording gunshots, you want a microphone that's going to be able to take really high SPL, loud noises, because the microphone's going to distort otherwise, and you're going to end up with something that doesn't sound very good. I'll be putting out a full behind the scenes video on this hypercar recording experience, because it's been a really unique situation, and I think it really showcases a lot of different techniques and demands that get put on microphones out in the environment that that car was in. But one of the biggest things is you're working in a really isolated environment that's really quiet to get car recordings right. And then the cars themselves are super, super loud. So you want a microphone that's going to be able to handle really loud noise, but also respond really well in quiet atmospheres, so that as the car is approaching and it's nice and quiet in comparison to a pass-by, you get a really nice ramp up that's clean and not contaminated with other noises or other weird frequencies. I'm going to play you two sets of recordings. The first is from one of my personal favorite microphones, the Sennheiser MKH8040. The 8040 is a fantastic small capsule cardioid condenser microphone that I love on pretty much everything I use it with. I've recorded atmospheres with it, I've recorded cars with it, I've recorded guns with it. It sounds fantastic on pretty much everything you throw at it. The second set will be from the Deity S-Mic 2, which is a condenser microphone, but it's a shotgun pickup pattern, so it's going to be a little bit more directional. I was using these out in the field in a really, really quiet desert location, and I got some ambience recording from that, as well as the sounds of the car that I was recording passing by these microphones. So I want to play back first the car pass by so that you can hear what each of these mics picked up and the character of each. I was feeding both of these microphones into a Sound Devices 688 recorder, which is a little bit of an older piece of gear, but it's really, really good. It's got clean, quiet preamps, so pretty much any microphone you plug into it is going to sound as quiet as it possibly can out in the field. I want you to take a listen first to the sound of this car passing by these microphones from each of their perspectives. Now that's a single take of this car passing by these microphones, so really the only difference in the performance is the microphones themselves. And right off the bat, the Sennheiser MKH8040, at least to my ears, sounds much more full and rich and cinematic just by itself, without any processing or anything like that, than the Deity S-Mic does. And again, this is through the exact same recorder, exact same take, same car, same environment, all the rest of that stuff. So it's not like this is a wildly different set of recording circumstances. The S-Mic has a bit of a thinner sound to it and sort of accentuates the mid-range, high mids, and top end, which makes it great for dialogue. That's kind of what you want when you're recording a voice, to get that nice clarity above and beyond any background noise or anything. But for something like a vehicle, or really any sound that's going to be more full bandwidth from really low frequencies all the way up to really high frequencies, you want to try and capture that with as little color from the microphone as possible, and the Deity does definitely color that a little bit. It rolls off some of the low end naturally, it accentuates some of those top end frequencies naturally, and it ends up sounding a little bit thin as a result, like I said. Now, that's not because it's a bad mic necessarily, it's just more suited to dialogue recording than it is to specifically car recording. Now, that being said, those same characteristics would be present in a lot of other recording circumstances, like guns, for example, have really, really strong low end and really strong top end. You want to capture that full spectrum. Maybe the Deity isn't going to be quite as suited because it doesn't have the low end response that something like the Sennheiser did. Also, when it comes to something like, say, waves or ocean sounds, those sound effects are obviously different, but they have a lot of similar frequencies and a lot of overlap and qualities to them. And again, the Deity maybe isn't quite as suited for something like that. Although I will say for something like recording Foley, where you've got hand pats and you've got footsteps and all kinds of different props and, you know, touching things, picking stuff up, putting stuff down, a lot of that tends to be really low end heavy when you get a mic real close to it. So having something that naturally rolls those frequencies off, like the Deity S-Mic 2, might make it a good choice for adding a little bit of mic coloration to your Foley sounds without even having to do anything with EQ. You just select a mic that actually represents the sounds that you like. I would say it would be a great choice for that, but Foley needs to be recorded in a really quiet environment, much like really quiet atmospheres and ambiences do. And I recorded some ambiences with the Deity as well as the Sennheiser out in that same desert location I was in, and I'll just let you take a listen. Now keep in mind, that's the same location, same take, same recorder, same preamps, same cables, and the same levels all dialed in. You can definitely tell that the Deity has a lot more self-noise than the Sennheiser does. And that's probably my biggest issue with this microphone overall, is that its self-noise is just a little bit too loud to record delicate or quiet sounds, or sounds that have a lot of contrast in level to them. And when it comes to something like really quiet ambiences, that's a really specific environment, so I'm gonna pick microphones that are super quiet anyway, and this wouldn't necessarily have been one of those. But if you're looking for a good all-around microphone that's gonna record dialogue and sound effects and Foley, you're gonna be able to use it to capture pretty much anything you throw at it. It might be worth considering some of this if you're thinking about picking up maybe a used Sennheiser MKH416 or a Rode NTG3 or maybe the Deity or something else along those same lines. The Deity S-Mic 2 is a great mic, don't get me wrong. It sounds really good on Dialog, it sounds really nice and clean, and again, it has that nice off-axis rejection of a shotgun microphone. But in really demanding environments where it's either really quiet or you need to have a really full spectrum of sound represented that goes beyond just dialogue recording, I don't know that I'd necessarily select it over other mics that I've used in the past. Real quick, I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is an amazing online learning community where members can find thousands of inspiring classes to explore new skills, dive deeper into passions, and really lose themselves in creativity. Whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just starting out, you'll be able to discover new ways to build and hone real-world skills that are taught by creative professionals who empower you to grow. Skillshare curates ad-free classes that are entirely dedicated to learning, and they're constantly adding more premium classes, so you can explore at your own pace and focus entirely on creativity. When I'm not out in the field recording or sitting in the studio, I love taking photos. Chris Burkhardt is one of my favorite adventure photographers, and he has a class called Outdoor Photography, shooting at sunset, sunrise, and night. Chris breaks down the fundamentals of using light to create stunning visuals, and for less than $10 a month, you can learn directly from him and thousands of other creative pros who are sharing their knowledge on Skillshare. So go check out the link in the description. The first 1,000 people to click on it will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership so you can learn and grow as a creative. So I know this isn't like a full run through of the Deity S-Mic 2, but in this specific instance, I really wanted to show you guys what it sounds like in a really high demand environment that a sound effects recordist might find themselves in pretty much any given set that involves some kind of vehicle or some kind of really quiet room tone or atmosphere. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this is helpful information. If you did enjoy, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe. I'm over on Instagram at AXK, so come follow me over there. And as always, thanks for watching.